Check, check, testing, 1, 2, 3. Check, check, testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's turn some music on. I added a whole 3 new background tracks to the playlist today. Only 3 because I only thought to do it like as I was getting ready for the stream, so bit of a time crunch. I figured might as well just add a tiny bit more variety while I can. I think they're all ambient tracks. I think like all the good long classical music on YouTube audio library I've already added to this playlist, but I mean what I really need to do is sit down when I have more than like 5 minutes to look through it again, you know? Oh, hello Country Fried Minis, welcome back. Speaking of that music, I need to get it down just a little bit. Okay. I hope everyone's doing alright this fine Monday. I have a can of mango bubbly here because I had a Coke Zero at work. And you know, I don't want to be crazy and have 2 Coke Zeros in one day. That's only for emergencies. I'm glad my streams line up well with your routine there. Alright, so you can probably guess what the first step is gonna be. It's gonna be re-moistening that wet palette. My paper is off skew a little bit, and that's just bugging me, but I can't really... It'll be easier to shift that around once there's more moisture on here. Now, probably just gonna be introducing one new color to the palette tonight, which is just going to be a different brown or 2. But I'm hoping I can get the 7 Household Guard minis I was working on yesterday at least to the washed stage tonight. Say that the main goal that I definitely want to accomplish is get them all ready to wash. If I can get all of them washed as well, that'd be nice. usually when you kind of finish that base coat blocking stage, it's pretty easy to motivate yourself to just go to the washing stage next, because the washing stage is like a lot of visual progress per minute spent painting compared to just regular base coating. Okay, let's see if I can shift this paper around a little bit, and gotta make sure there's not any big drops of water bleeding into the kind of remnants of the khaki there. Same for the blue. I think we're pretty good over there though, as long as I don't get too close to the edge. Closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Alright, I think what I'm gonna start off with is the color for just a few bits of leather that these duders have, and then some of the fur bits on their capes. So we've got Vallejo Game Color Carne Oscura, or dark flesh tone. I probably didn't pronounce that right. I feel like I pronounced the Vallejo right, because, you know, over here in North America, most people call it Vallejo. Vallejo. I'd studied Spanish in Spanish class in grade 8 once. There's a little, looks like an eyelash on the palette. Gotta get that out of there so I don't accidentally paint it into something. Alright, well, let's put this over here. Oh geez, that needs to be shaken up. That looks like just some oil came out of there. Shake this on camera so you can see. I don't think I need to shake this vigorously enough in terms of like getting the actual paint shaker out. Okay, let's try this again. That's better. Now I just need to, you know, mix it with that oil that was there. That might be an issue. Oh, wrong brush. Yeah, it's just gonna pre-thin it a bit with that just separated bit of medium. Calling it oil is the wrong terminology. Alright, just a little bit more. I think that's all I need. And we will need to use a more precise brush at this point. But I don't want to use the extra fancy brush I have set aside right now. This one might be good for the initial bits. Valley Joe. I'll have to use that around one of my coworkers while we're, you know, talking shop near the paint rack. And just to gauge their reaction. Alright. So, yeah, this one doesn't have a ton of the brown that's going to go on the cape. Some of the other ones have a lot more. Valley Joe. I think my, like, fake southern accent can be okay, because I've grown up here in Alberta, aka Diet, Texas. But I would never actually claim to be able to do that impression that well. And yeah, I know I need to go over the blue on this cape again eventually, so I'm just focusing on getting coverage on the colored, or on the fur hair, whatever it is. Getting good coverage on it, and then we'll tidy up the blue around it. And then we got some on top here. Same kind of approach, for just focusing on coverage for the brown, because we are going to be dry brushing this just a tiny bit. So might as well save finishing up the blue for when all that's done. And these, just the fur bits on the cape will be getting a selective brown wash. The rest will be getting a, a Nuln Oil-esque armor wash, we'll say. Anyone else getting up to hobby activities tonight? You can see I'm deftly snaking the brush underneath the cape and into the knee pit. Which, now that I look at the other side, huge mistake on the gold there. Okay, maybe huge is the wrong word. Well, we got gold to tidy up across all the models after anyways. 'Tis no matter. And the other side, the knee strap looks a little different for some reason. Now let's look at our reference household guard. I don't think there's any leather to do other than those bits on the knees. Looks like I gotta paint the little metallic bits at the bottom of the cape silver, which I realized upon just looking at the reference mini now. But the brown on that one's done. And I was drinking a Coke Zero in the stream last night, and we set our new burp record of 11 burps. And Mango Bubbly, I'm sure, will provide some burps, but something about Coke Zero just makes it extra burpy, or bubble producing, fizzy. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna set a new record tonight. Just want to temper the expectations a bit for everyone. I don't want to disappoint people. Yeah, I should have done these straps first yesterday, because I can come at it from one direction and not get too much onto the gold, but in doing so I get a lot on the blue there. So it makes sense to do these more recessed areas first. And in general you want to do recessed areas first. And it doesn't quite apply for the particular bits I'm painting right at this moment. Because they're going to get washed, and just the border's like a little fuzzy between them. And we're going to dry brush. So dry brushing trumps painting recessed areas, I suppose. Also, there we go, first burp of the stream. I managed to work it into a sentence. I don't think I worked any burps into sentences yesterday. Let's just give that a quick update before I forget. This brush just barely has the semblance of a tip left. I like to use my brushes until they're just unusable in general, or only usable for like washes and dry brushes. Or just extremely sloppy work. Like the first base coat of any of the colors. You can usually just slap that one on with not much of a care of anything. I guess if sometimes you might be priming in a certain color to save you some time, and in that case you gotta watch out along those borders. And this part of the cape is not gonna get the same wash as the brown, because we're using the same leather base coat, but the finish I kind of want it to look like a different material. Yeah, I don't think this brush is going to be adequate now. Don't know about that one either, but this one will definitely be adequate. Remember with the flashpoint stuff, I kind of just used the same brush for the majority of it. But now I'm being a bit more conscious of like, let's just, you know, use up the crappy brushes on their last legs alive, where appropriate, of course. You gotta be a little careful around these spikes here, because those ones do kind of have their finished coat on it already, of the paint anyways. If there's any Conquest enjoyers in the crowd today, I officially started planning for my first trip to Winnipeg. What color did I paint those parts again? I think brown. Going to Winnipeg for a Conquest tournament. That's why I'm bringing up Conquest here. The plan is to help Mass from the channel Bonk Table run his first, I believe it's his first Conquest event. Not the first event he's done, but I'm supposed to be the TO for BonkCon in Winnipeg in June. Yeah, and I know if any British people are listening, that name might be a little concerning. And, it's the name of Mass's. I guess it started as a podcast, but it's more than just a podcast now. I believe when he came up with the name, he didn't know the British connotation of bonking. I don't have much authority to elaborate further. I'm not British. Yeah, that's right. Country Fried Minis, Bonk Table. I think it's supposed to, like, his mascot is a Steel Legion chopping a watermelon with a sword. So I think it's like the chopping motion is kind of like a bonk. You know, if that makes sense. It's a memorable name. Sticks in the head. But also, I've already been planning a Conquest tournament at the Sentry Box in Alberta in early May, so it's going to be an exciting spring and summer, early summer of Conquest up here in Canada. And yeah, I'm painting Conquest minis right now, but I'm the person that like is running the tournaments usually, so just painting the army for casual games, I suppose. Generally, don't have time, or you don't like play in your own tournament. You gotta be like the one running it. That's how it works. Yeah, for anyone watching that isn't into Conquest, you'll probably get nothing out of Bonk Table, I'm afraid. But hey, maybe if you're Conquest curious. If you're Conquest curious, the first thing I'd do is just like go read through all the free lore on Parabellum's website. And if lore does nothing for you, then go over to their Instagram, go to like the tagged section to see like other people who've tagged them in posts, because that's usually a good way to see some amazing paint jobs and custom model work. They might have a story highlight for their like Colors of Conquest winners, which is like a monthly painting contest they do. I don't quote me on that. I can't actually remember if they have an Instagram story highlight for that. The Conquest minis are real pretty looking, so there's lots of pretty painted pictures out there. Burp too. I just left this whole part. Or I forgot to put the blue on it earlier. I guess it works out that we're gonna have to circle back to the blue. Once I'm done this one, I'll update the burp counter, don't worry. I've never been to Winnipeg before, but I feel like it's a place I should have on my Canadian bucket list. Apparently it's the Slurpee capital of Canada. Most Slurpees sold there per capita. Don't quote me on that. It's just something I was told by a Winnipegger. Also, apparently it's the mosquito capital. I know not everyone watching might live in an area where mosquitoes are just a thing in the spring and summer. But even if that's the case, you probably heard of those annoying little bugs before. I thought about going back to like the silver and the dry brushing tonight and working on some of the other models in the batch to just like have a bit more variety minis wise. But then I was feeling that for this session, or I was feeling like that was just me making an excuse for myself not to just power through these Household Guard. Yeah, I know like Vancouver Island and like West Coast Canada, mosquitoes ain't really an issue, so that makes sense to be the same down in San Fran as well. You're lucky, I tell you. Yeah, I am going to Winnipeg in the mosquito time, so I'll just have to get some bug spray when I'm there. Even though I'm gonna be inside mostly. Looks like I need to reset the camera. Alright, and I definitely mixed just the right amount, or poured out just the right amount of paint, I think. I would consider, I'm kind of like going with the one thick coat technique here, because I am doing the dry brushing after, which is, you know, kind of like a second coat, just a different color. If I wasn't doing the dry brush, I'd probably apply 2 thin coats, or just 2 regular coats. The 2 thin coats concept, like, I agree with. But also, it's kind of like thinning. Sometimes thinning can mean like thinning things a lot, but because for me, there's always like a little bit of thinning by default. So when I'm like thinking about thinning, then I'm doing some thinning on top of my already default thinning, if that makes sense. Alright, now we're grabbing a lighter brown. We got grunge brown here for a real basic dry brush. So this is where one of those raggedy old, what used to be like a layer brush, will come in handy as a small-ish dry brush. Alright, I gotta reach from the back of the pile where they should be dry enough. And we're only doing this for the fur bits. Don't need to bother with the knee straps at all. Level 2 brushes. Not size 2, level 2. Oh, this one looks a little separated too. Let's shake it a bit harder. Speaking of level 2 brushes though, a size 2 nice round sable brush. That's like a good workhorse brush. One that like has a nice tip. Could just paint for hours with one of those. Or I have painted for hours with one of those. The size 2 sable brush I have right now though, its tip has seen better days. I probably put too much paint on the palette for this, but this will come in handy for some skin tones at the men-at-arms later. Perhaps I'll mix some of those up. Just gonna bring the cloth in here so you can see the little like just really gummed up spot of the paper towel that I can pull from for dry brushing, and it might, you know, it's like a little bit more controlled in terms of how much paint I'm actually grabbing. Now let's see if I judged this correctly. Yeah, more or less. I think I could probably get away with having a bit more paint on there. Miss the edges a bit. Yeah, I kind of like going a bit heavier on the top here. Yeah, that's more like it. This is gonna get a wash after. I don't have to be afraid about over highlighting it. In fact, perhaps I want to over highlight it a bit. Now I could do a second dry brush on top of there, but I'm not gonna. These are just grunts. Oh, I shouldn't have washed the brush off. I gotta keep using this for dry brushing. The habit kicked in because I got a ton of paint around the ferrule there. Silly me. It's okay, there's another crappy brush here to accomplish the same thing. You know what? Maybe this will be the right amount of paint after all. Yes, very good. That's all that needs to be done there, really. I know that the spot down here needs a better base coat, though. It's not looking great right now. I like the Vallejo paints, but you know that the more expensive ones do have a bit better coverage. Shocking, I know. By the more expensive ones, I mean more expensive brands. Consistency is very important, though, and I mean availability. When it comes to army painting, where you need a lot of the same color. And Vallejo can be a lot more available than the other brands sometimes. With the exception of Games Workshop, that one is like usually the default one you can almost guarantee being at any tabletop related hobby store. If it's more of like a modeling store, then like I suppose there's a chance there won't be any GW. I do want to, the impulse to wash this brush off is there, but I'm going to do at least one more. I don't know if the other brush is dry enough yet. Oh, I never updated the burp counter. I can't remember if we're at 2 or 3. I think we're at 2. My apologies. I almost forgot the most important part of the stream. Running this bit into the ground. But yeah, definitely, I feel like what I was saying before about Coke Zero just being extra fizzy is applying, because I haven't gotten as many burps out of this one. Yeah, I've been on a slow quest to eliminate GW paints. Well, maybe eliminate's the wrong word, because I've gotten a few just like freebies from people who don't need them anymore and stuff like that. You know, I don't count those ones, but I try not to buy any GW paint products. And I don't think I have, actually, now that I think of it. Burp 3, by the way. I think it's been an actual hot minute since I've purchased any GW hobby products. I am confident in saying that when my current bottle of NULN oil, as Country Fried Mini says, when that runs out, I think I'm just going to find a alternative black wash. I do like Army Painter Dark Tone, but it's like just got a bit too much stain effect for me. At least the last time I used it, it felt like that. You know how I said earlier I didn't want to do a second dry brush? I am kind of... I know this one almost looks like I used a different color, but I think I might have used 2 dry brushes before. I might have to just do another round, because I'm a masochist when it comes to painting minis sometimes. I'll spare you all from quoting what I said in the Halo Flashpoint streams again about speed painting. For a while, Army Painter, the only things I was confident in recommending were the metallics and the washes, but now with their Fanatic paint range, their actual like opaque paints are pretty worth, from what I hear. I've used like a small amount of them because they are a bit pricier. But like if price is no issue and you're just doing a lot of like straight up painting for wargaming, Army Painter is pretty quality stuff. And you're not paying like an artificial price for just being James Workshop, or for shopping from James Workshop. Buying from James Workshop is what I'm trying to say. The store I work at was stocking Pro Acrylic paints for a while, which was the new hotness. But the thing about Pro Acrylic paints is they came from America, so when the tariffs kicked in up here north of the border, we stopped ordering Pro Acrylic. A lot of hobby paint brands come from Europe. Army Painters from Denmark. GW's from the UK, obviously. Vallejo and AK Interactive, and probably some other ones I'm forgetting are from Spain. Okay, now I want to say though there's enough off-white left on the palette from before to highlight this, but I don't think there is. I mean, it would be fine if I was not dry brushing and I could just mix up something real watery. However, we are dry brushing, so we don't want the paint to be too thin. We only need a little bit for the mix. I think I know why it looks different on the other one. Because I probably highlighted this instead for the dry brushing instead of the grunge brown. Now this one I'm really wiping a lot off the brush because we only want the lightest touch for this final highlight. It's gonna be real fast. Hello, Mr. Square Peg, welcome. Boom, done. Boom. Another one. This one's got the little dangly tassels. It takes slightly longer. A bit too much on the brush there. Careful now. I need to rinse the brush off after this and switch to another one. Thankfully, we have crappy brushes aplenty. Oh dear, I almost forgot to update that third burp. Whoops, just knocked over some guys. These halberds, I tell you. They look really good once they're all ranked up with each other, but man, they stick out in some directions, let me tell you. And forget a bit onto the metallics, it's alright, they'll be cleaned up later. As always. Alright. Gotta give both brushes a vigorous swooshing now. So you can just see my twitching arm on the screen. Let's do this swishing on camera. Hopefully that ASMR is okay. Alright. Now, did I use soft tone or strong tone? That looks like I used strong tone. And I think we have some right here. It's always easy to find because it's got the red cap. And yeah, we don't want to be putting this on the palette really. To the dry palette. You can see this is where the strong tone dried earlier. And by earlier, I mean yesterday. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go for over 2 hours on the stream tonight. I think I went long enough yesterday. I can go a bit easier tonight and shoot for 90 minutes. I do gotta work again tomorrow after all. Just cleaning off some of this goop that was around the nozzle. Alright. And we really don't need a lot for this. And once again, back to a crappy brush. Grabbing from the back of the pile where the paint will be dry enough. Yeah, the stage is nice and quick. It's just correct. We'll give all the tones a bit of like a unifying brown, and also to correct some areas that were over dry brushed a little bit. And it also ideally creates a nice, shades a nice border between the fur and the cape, so I know where to paint the blue up to, if that makes sense. And yes, there is a mold line I didn't clean up at the top of these capes. Don't worry about it. Mold lines, never heard of her. just kidding. I've definitely heard of them. And they are not to be trifled with. I think after this brown, we're gonna move on to do some nice gray stripes next to the blue and really start to get things blocked in, especially on the pants. I'm gonna see how many lines I have to draw myself. Some people draw lines in the sand. I draw lines on the pants. I'm just talking nonsense. Alright, just one to go, and yeah, I definitely mixed too much, or poured out too much shade. Oh well. It wasn't a lot in the first place, it doesn't really feel like I'm wasting. It's true. Life is nonsense, so why not talk nonsense? Alright, back to ye old palette of the wetness. Gonna grab our beloved model color medium sea gray. Gonna have to get a new bottle of this soon, and the new branding. Hopefully the color's the same. And yeah, now we're definitely switching over to more precise brushing territory. So we'll grab the slightly nicer mediocre brush. Gonna mix over on this side of the palette. I don't know, I keep saying mixing, I'm not really mixing. I guess the action of just twirling the brush around and like mixing in a little water, aka thinning. I just like, my head just defaults to calling that mixing. Burp 4. I feel like I could have put that into a sentence better. Just need to grab the crappy brush for that thinning. Let's use a little bit more water. This paint's coming out decently thick. Decently thick. Alright, I feel like this section of painting will be enjoyable for a certain kind of painter. Maybe most painters enjoy painting just a nice straight line, but like when there's an edge to guide the brush, so it's not freehand. Okay, I feel like the paint was still just a tiny bit thin there. Alright. And you're gonna, as I'm doing this, you're gonna see some cringe areas where I was cleaning up nub marks hastily. But just try not to think about it. Just focus on this nice stripe of gray And there's obviously, because of the cape work you just saw with the fur, there's going to be some blue cleanup earlier, so I'm focusing on getting proper coverage on the gray rather than maintaining the blue border that was painted on previously, if that makes sense. And this gray will, of course, turn into a white eventually. We'll save that for after the washing process near the end, because once you're painting up to like what reads as a pure white, you really want to do that towards the end. Because if you do it first and then paint some like darker colors around it and mess up, it's just more annoying to clean up the mistakes that way. Hence why generally you can follow the rule of brighter colors last, but I think more importantly with minis, it's like recessed areas first, then areas with like the greatest surface area, then you pick out, block in the finer details. Alright, gotta do the inside edge of the cape now. Edge. Yeah, this is kind of another area where it's like, okay, maybe... Actually, no, this is an area where you do the blue first. I think I could have started with a darker blue, though. Alright, gotta figure out these pant stripes now. Yeah, like this area of the pants. I don't even know if... I wouldn't be surprised if these pants aren't supposed to be striped. At least like the way I'm doing it. But like there are some clear edges to some of the fabric on the pants here. And doing the blue and white stripes just brings me back to the old Warhammer Fantasy Empire days. Probably one of the reasons why 100 Kingdoms is decently popular as a Conquest faction, despite it being like the most generic vanilla one, is just there's lots of Warhammer Fantasy refugees that played Empire. Me guilty as charged. Okay, I guess I'll do white here. No, that wouldn't make sense. It would be white and then blue. Where's the stripe? Okay, I think this is supposed to be white. We're just going with that. This is probably similar ramblings to what I did the last time I was painting these household guard on stream. Yeah, this side of the leg gets a bit more straightforward where the straps, or where the stripe's supposed to go. At least I think so. It'll be interesting when it comes time to paint the Gilded Legion when the backs, when their booties are like fully visible. We'll really find out how these pants are supposed to be painted. And like this is a spot where some of the folds in there I should be painting at the blue. based on the texture, but it's such a small stripe, it'll just be easier for readability and for my sanity to just paint it all white. Same thing like with this whole section of the leg that's kind of blocked by the waist cloth. Alright, I think the gray on this one's done. Oh, that we do, it's, yeah, weird. What's also kind of weird, or is it with all of them? They've got like this part of the armor on the arm is cloth, but the other part is not. Yeah, I think they're all like that. Yeah, I don't remember what color this is, but yeah, this is the old Citadel color paint handle. Oh, this is probably, look at that, that's probably Goblin Green. What a nice Easter egg. Yeah, I think three of my painting handles are old GW paint pots. When I got into the hobby, it was the generation before this where they were like the same hexagon shape, but it was like a twist lid. Those ones were like you needed a wrench to get them open. Oh damn, this paint is like almost turning into a big chunk. We just gotta do some emergency hydration here. This paint is too goopy. Right, and we were done this? No, sleeve, right. We had that whole conversation about the sleeve. And by we had that whole conversation, I mean I described it to the void. The internet, perhaps, is a better term, or just those of y'all watching. I'm just trying to say it in a pretentious way, you know? Yeah, this part is pretty annoying to paint, getting cloth underneath these armor plates. It's like, I don't want to do sub-assemblies for a whole infantry unit and like paint the arms, then put the shoulder plates on. Also, some of them, like the shoulder point is like a necessary glue attachment point to keep the arm onto the torso. Burp 5, there we go. Please let me know if I'm like clipping the mic with my burps. I don't want to be blasting away anyone's ears. Yeah, exactly. Halfway there. That's what I thought. Oh, there's a hair stuck to my hand. That stripe there was a little tricky. And then down here along the edge is tricky because I don't want to mess up the base at all, which has been dry brushed and washed. Because fixing those mistakes if you can't scrub it up right away is a pain. But also this area is like barely visible, so I really wonder sometimes how much I should be painting it. Probably not as much as I am. But we all know what my style's like. Gotta paint that area no one's gonna see or else it'll bug me forever. Okay, cape trim done on this one. It's pants time. The burps are perfect volume. That's amazing to hear. What a blessing. Excuse me. I should cough the other direction. All right. So here we have a bit more of a distinct line to pick out. Even though I might just be painting the exact same leg, for some reason the sculpt seemed better. I just understand it better now. Even though this is like well over a dozen of these by now. Yeah, kind of just winging it with the stripes in the groin area. That's totally acceptable for that barely visible area. Alright. Another one down. Damn, at this point it feels like I might well break 2 hours just finishing up the pants and cape trim. This is me just trying to get rid of the goopiness of the paint. Or clumpiness, perhaps, better word. I think originally when I was doing the first household guard models, like the test ones, I was doing white fur on the trim, or on the top of the cape as well. But then I was like, these models don't have as much color variation as the other ones in the army. We need or they don't have as much, like, as obvious to pick out color variation, if that makes sense. So we introduced the very red-brown. And I think it was just what the scheme needed. No, this blue is just super bright. It's like one of my go-to Valley Joe colors. It's, where is it? Valley Joe Magic Blue. You know, it's got similar coverage to the other Valley Joe paints. Whereas in, like, you kind of need the two coats a lot of the time, but yeah, it's a very nice blue. Combine it with some sky blue and an imperial blue. I don't remember if that's what the paints are still called, but ooh, you got yourselves a nice triad there. I am speeding up a bit now, it feels like. Now that I got two of these pantaloons done. Oh wait, I definitely forgot the sleeve on this one. Let's do that. But this one's super annoying to paint because of this door knocker ass shoulder pad. Looks super cool, so it's worth the annoyance of the painting. But it is annoying. And while I'm talking to the void here, I'm gonna complain about it. Alright. Now this one also just need to do the shoulder, or the bicep, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, 5 burps might be all we're getting. The can's empty now. Now, you know what would be good ambient stream music would be the just start menu idles ambient track for the PS4 menu, you know? That's chill AF. Oh, nice. Enjoy that tonic water. Tonic water is just sour soda water. Am I wrong? I don't know what the actual ingredients that go into tonic water that make it tonic and not just soda water. And I don't know if you need to have that little bit of sodium that, like, at least club soda has for it to be soda water. If I guess if it's carbonated, that just means it's soda water. I think that's a fair assumption to make. Quinine, is that what it is? I don't know that ingredient. Oh, big spillover onto the blue there. Boy. Hellover Silver Scratch Build Product 6277. I'm painting some household guard for the tabletop game Conquest. Gotta get that 2,000 point list painted. Are you working on anything? Also, thanks for coming. Oh, looks like the camera needs to be reset. Let's just finish these pants here. Yeah, there's a tiny bit showing there, but I don't think I'm... yeah, no, that's a bit tricky. Right, resetting the camera, that's what I'm supposed to do. Oh yes, good catch, Country Fried Minis. What happened to that music? Should be back now. Let's just try and... Okay. You're finishing a Mortarian Demon Prince. Oh damn, right at 250 hours, that must be a pretty epic looking Mortarian. And an Eldar Revenant Titan, an even bigger mini. You just centerpiece maxing. Oh, burp 6. We got one straggler burp. I can keep up my painting productivity into the new year and get my 100 Kingdoms list painted, finish at least the Halo Flashpoint Spartans, ideally 3 Harefoot Jousting miniatures, then maybe I'll be up to painting some Gunpla for the local competition at Odafest this year, because I skipped out on Odafest last year just to have a bit of a break, because I've been going every year since like 2015. But I'm gonna be back this year. I'm not putting a ton of pressure on myself Gunpla wise though. I've done plenty of Gunpla over the years, just gonna, you know, it waxes and wanes like any kind of model I paint. I certainly have a lot of backlog and Gunpla backlog that I ain't getting rid of. Okay, should I do white? Blue. Leave that blue and white. Okay. Oh, nice. You're a professional miniature painter. That's cool. Thanks for sharing. So is your Mortarion and or Revenant Titan a commission then, or are those personal projects? I'm not in my display painter mode right now, I'll tell you that. We're in army painting mode. Are you a kind of commission painter that has like, you know, the tabletop fast army painting rate and then the like display centerpiece premium rate? Also, if you're busy painting or something, you don't have to answer. Lurking in this stream is totally acceptable and approved. Oh, did I remember to do the sleeve on the last one? Yes, I did. Good. Personal, nice. Glad you can have time to paint personal projects on top of commissions. Alright, I'm assuming you got commissions right now. I guess you can be a pro mini painter that doesn't take commissions. That thought slipped my mind. Alright, sleeve time. Very respectable silver scratch build. Or silver scratch built product, 6,277. Maybe I'll just shorten it to Silver Scratch for now. Yeah, I find lately my plights with my models for the last while is less that, I mean, it used to be more just the quality of my painting felt inadequate, but now it's more that I'm more feeling that it's the quantity of my painting that's not adequate. Yeah, 3 to 5 months to get their miniature back. I'd say that's fair and acceptable for what to expect from a professional commission painter. Alright, started with the sleeve on that one because it's the most annoying part, perhaps. Let's do the next most annoying part and do the pants next. We'll do the most satisfying part of the cape at the end. Dig into the unfun to fund the fun again? Yeah, I suppose. I mean, sometimes it's not fun trying to like work myself up into like getting to sit down and painting, which is like, wow, I was kind of in a funk for so long, because, you know, the longer you spend in the funk, the harder it is to get out of it. But, you know, a lot of the time it's about getting past, you know, that first 5-10 minutes of like forcing yourself to sit down and just go and not worrying too much about finding the right background thing to put on. That's why it can be good to have multiple projects on the go at the same time, because if you're not motivated to one, you might be motivated to do a different one. And, you know, if you do live stream or something like that, sometimes what'll force you to... it looks like this has a sleeve too. So with this one, sometimes you can just, what was I saying? You know, sit down and schedule a stream that's gonna start in like half an hour, and you're like, well, the people have seen the notification now, so I gotta do it. That can come in handy sometimes if, you know, you got a streaming setup. Just like not an average tool to have in the miniature painting hobby. I mean, lots of people do, but I'm confident in saying the majority of people still don't do that. $40 camo max before Christmas. Ooh. How'd you get yourself into that? Yeah, I'm not sure why some of the household guard in this unit have exposed biceps on both arms, but the most of them don't. Interesting sculpting choice there. It just bugs me a little bit because I'm a real, matching pattern, symmetry type person. The painter side of me is like, I wish they were all plate mail so that it was easier to paint. Then the symmetry side of me is like, don't just make one sleeve be showing, show both of them. Jeez. Although it's the same thing with the shoulder pads, which it makes, like, I kind of turn off the annoying part of my brain when I remind myself. I'm like, okay, well, they're holding a polearm weapon, so, like, one shoulder will be, like, facing forward, so it kind of makes sense for, like, one shoulder pad to be a bit bulkier. Like, that's a thing. Pretty common in, like, wargaming models. You know, if there's a reason to explain it like that, I'm usually down. Or I won't get that annoyed by it. Listen to Carl Casey. I don't know who that is. I tried listening to audiobooks while streaming, and I had that problem where, like, the audiobook gets too engrossing, and not audiobooks while streaming, while painting, I mean, and or just, like, doing things in general. Audiobooks are, like, too distracting for me because I just pay too much attention to what's going on, and will just kind of, like, sit or stand there and listen and not do much else. Like, I could do something idle, perhaps a stim, if you will. But then, like, the whole point of putting it on in the background to work on something else doesn't work because I get too engrossed in it. Because I'm not gonna, like, listen to it intentionally, or, like, listen to an audiobook I'm not interested in for the sake of, like, oh, I'll be able to, like, work on my task better. It's like, at that point, like, the argument to listen to music is the winner. So yeah, when it comes to books I want to read, I haven't had much success with audiobooks. I just do it the old-fashioned way. You know, I've gotten out of my paint rut in the last month or so, but I'm still firmly entrenched in the reading rut. Still gotta work on that one. I've been working my way through the show of The Expanse, and I'm on, like, season 5 right now, and there's only 6 seasons, so I know with that, inevitably I'm gonna run out of episodes to watch and be like, well, I guess I'll read the books now. Alright, just white trim on one more to do after this. And I will kind of be on that 90... I'll be past the 90-minute mark, which is kind of what I was feeling for the stream tonight. Just a bit of a shorter one. And I was thinking of streaming on Friday, but there is a bit of a caveat of some building maintenance people might need to be let in and monitored for a while. White Bat Audio is good stream stuff. I guess let's open some tabs so I can look at these after the stream. We got Carl Casey and White Bat Audio. Sorry, I just bumped the mic there. Okay, we gotta do the sleeve on this guy that we missed. If I was doing a 2-hour stream, I'd probably get up and do a stretch right now. And I've once again expertly applied the exact amount of paint I need to the palette. I think. Oh dear, it's too thin. $40K scale Warlord Titan. I'm assuming you're painting it in sub-assemblies, because I don't think... Well, I've seen a few of those, like, Forge World models. How big is the Warhammer 40K scale Warlord Titan? I guess how big is it in comparison to, like, an Imperial Knight? I'm assuming it's, like, a third taller or half times taller than an Imperial Knight. My 40K knowledge ain't what it used to be. Oh, there's some gunk I did not clean up on this part of the cape. Woof. 2 feet tall. Very nice. Oh my god, 2 feet tall? It's like I'm trying to think of what painting that would be like on like my streaming setup. It's like I don't know what the sub-assemblies will be like for that painting, but I feel like my camera, I gotta put a wider angle lens on it and like move the arm up further just to fit everything. Are you gonna use this Warlord Titan in a game of 40K when it's done? Couldn't help myself and did the cape trim first there. Right, and this one does have the double sleeve I gotta make sure to grab. I think I painted onto the strap a little bit there. Whoopsie. Oh, I just see a huge splotch of brown there I missed. No matter. Okay, just the sleeves. make sure to take some good photos of that game of 40k. One worthy of the album of life's greatest memories. Unless, of course, it just gets shot off the table immediately by some hard counter. Like I said, my knowledge of 40k is not what it used to be. Alright, just about done. So I am gonna be wrapping up the stream a bit early, just because I got a limited time tonight. It was a busy day. Next stream will tentatively be on Friday. If not Friday, we'll do Saturday. During the daytime. Late morning if I'm on the ball. And ideally... Actually, I'm remembering... Okay, yeah, I have one video call I have to do. I think around noon. For 11... maybe I'll try and do the stream before then. You know me, classic Millennial model Mayhem, not being able to commit to streaming at a certain time. I'll just keep you all living in mystery. I will say what would be nice is if I can get everything all ready to be washed, or maybe up to the point of being washed in time for that next stream. So it can be something more than just more base coating. Yeah, if those people know there's a 2-foot tall Titan mini slamming onto the table, they gotta bring some answers. Because if they don't, I assume you'll just stomp all over them or blow them to smithereens. Alright, don't really need to mop up any paint. Yes, exactly, Country Fried Minis. Alright, well, thanks for coming to this slightly shorter stream, everybody. Next 2 streams will be hopefully late morning streams, or the next stream, I won't say 2 streams, will be late morning streams towards the end of the week / the weekend. Hopefully I can get some of the boring prep work done before then. And yeah, I think that's all I got for tonight. Thanks to everyone who did show up and enjoy the chill painting vibes. 6 burps ain't bad. It's not a Coke Zero, but pretty proud of my record that was set yesterday. Alright, have a good night, everybody. Goodbye.